You don't get to guilt me, Tessa said, leaning on the kitchen counter like she was explaining something to a child. You're safe, he's exciting, I shouldn't have to pick just one. The words didn't come with yelling, they came with certainty, like she was describing a modern rule I hadn't bothered to learn. Hey friends, please like this video and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you, it's all thanks to you. I stood there with my coffee cooling in my hand, staring at her like I was seeing the room for the first time. Outside our apartment window, Raleigh looked clean and busy, morning traffic in the distance, a few dog walkers, the sky already bright, even though it was still early. My name is Caleb. I was 36 when this happened. I work as a logistics coordinator for a medical supply company near Research Triangle Park. I'm the guy who makes sure the right boxes go to the right places at the right time with the right paperwork. When a shipment goes missing, I don't panic. I track it down. When a vendor makes a mistake, I don't scream. I document it and fix it. It's not glamorous work, but it trains you to be calm when somebody else is running on emotion. Tessa was 29. She taught fitness classes at a boutique studio. She had the kind of energy that filled up a room before she even started talking. People loved her. They would tell her she changed their life because she made them sweat for 45 minutes and then hugged them after. She ran on praise. She said it was her job, and maybe it was, but it also became her habit. We'd been together 3 years and 1 month, long enough to have a rhythm, long enough to have inside jokes, long enough that my parents asked about grandchildren in that careful way older people do, like they're pretending to be casual while keeping score. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in a newer complex on the edge of town, not far from the farmer's market on weekends. The leasing office called it luxury living. I called it thin walls and a decent gym. The lease was in my name. When we moved in, it was supposed to be my place first because my credit was simple and stable and her income was more variable. Tessa moved in a few months later as an authorized occupant. The office had her on file. She had a key. She got packages. She wasn't a stranger, but she wasn't the leaseholder. At the time, that detail felt like nothing, just paperwork, a form, a box checked. It became important later. The before part of our story was honestly good. I woke up early, I always have. I'd make coffee and pack my lunch. I'd leave before the sun was fully up because the roads were easier and I liked starting my day with a clean head. Tessa was the opposite. She'd come alive later. She'd wake up in a tangle of sheets, reach for her phone first, and then smile at something on the screen like it was breakfast. She taught a morning class twice a week, so she'd move fast on those days. On other mornings, she'd sit at the counter in leggings and an oversized hoodie, scrolling, answering messages, posting clips from the day before. The same kitchen counter I paid rent for became her little control center. Laptop open, ring light plugged in, protein powder on the shelf like a decoration. I liked that she had ambition. I liked that she had friends. I liked that she could walk into the farmer's market and somehow know 3 people before we reached the apples. Weekends were our thing. Saturday mornings we'd go to the market, grab coffee, and pretend we were the kind of couple that bought flowers just because. Sometimes we'd take a drive out to a park and walk around the lake. Sometimes we'd stay in, make breakfast, and watch old movies while it rained. She'd put her feet in my lap and call me steady like it was the best compliment she could think of. I need you, she'd say, half joking, half serious. You keep me grounded. I believed her. Then her world got louder. It started with a new studio, a newer place with bright lights, social media walls, and instructors who treated their schedule like a stage. Tessa got invited to teach there twice a week. She was thrilled. She started talking about building her brand the way people talk about building a house, like every step mattered, like every contact was a brick. Her nights got later. Her phone got busier. She started calling things opportunities that looked a lot like parties. She'd come home smelling like perfume and sweat and some kind of fruity drink, laughing at messages while I was brushing my teeth. At first, I didn't complain. I didn't want to be the guy who holds someone back, but I noticed little changes. She stopped asking about my day, not always, but enough that it stood out. I'd start to tell her about a rush shipment, and she'd nod without looking up, thumb moving on her phone like a metronome. She started interrupting me to show me a video of herself teaching, like I was supposed to applaud on command. She also started treating our home like a backdrop instead of a shared space. The living room wasn't where we relaxed anymore. It was where she filmed. The kitchen wasn't where we ate. It was where she laid out products for unboxings. If I left my keys on the counter, she'd move them and say, "Babe, you're messing up my shot." She said babe a lot when she was correcting me. The disrespect didn't arrive with one big moment. It arrived like small drops that fill up a bucket. One evening, I asked her to come to my coworker's retirement dinner. It was a simple thing, a quiet steakhouse, a few older folks telling stories about the company. Tessa had met most of them. She made a face like I'd suggested she clean a garage. That's not my scene. It's one night, I said. It matters to me. She sighed. Your people are nice, Caleb, but they're calm. It's like everyone is afraid to have fun. I stared at her. We're celebrating a guy's career, not filming a dance video. She laughed, and it wasn't warm. See, you make everything serious. That line kept repeating with different words. Serious, heavy, boring, safe. Then there was the money. I wasn't rich, I did fine. I paid rent, utilities, car insurance, and I put money away because that's what I was raised to do. Tessa contributed, but it became inconsistent. Sometimes she'd Venmo me for groceries. Sometimes she'd say, I'm waiting on a payment. Sometimes she'd forget entirely and then act offended if I brought it up. If you loved me, she said one time, you wouldn't keep score. I'm not keeping score, I answered. I'm paying bills. She rolled her eyes like bills were a personality flaw. The first clear receipt came on a Tuesday morning, and it wasn't because I was digging. It was because Tessa left our shared iPad on the kitchen counter, right where she always left it. We had a shared iPad mostly for the house. Music while cooking, recipes, streaming. Tessa used it to cue workouts and check messages when her phone was charging. I used it sometimes to check our banking app because the screen was bigger. That morning I was making coffee and toast. The iPad lit up with a bank alert. Big, clear, impossible to miss. Recurring charge, $189, Crown Lounge VIP membership. I didn't even touch it at first. I just stood there watching the notification sit on the screen like a little warning sign. Crown Lounge wasn't a gym. It wasn't a grocery store. It wasn't a normal expense. I tapped it once because it was already on the lock screen and the preview was right there. It showed the charge repeating monthly, same amount, same merchant. My first thought was simple. I had never been there with her. My second thought was more specific. I had never even heard her mention it. I took a slow breath, not because I was trying to be noble, because I didn't want to act on guesses. I wanted facts. Tessa came into the kitchen wearing a cropped sweatshirt, hair in a messy bun, already smiling at something on her phone. Morning, she said. You're up early. I always am, I said. She leaned over the counter, reached for the iPad without looking at it, and froze when she saw the bank alert. I watched her face change, just a flicker, enough. What's Crown Lounge? I asked. She blinked like she'd forgotten I existed. What? The membership charge, I said, keeping my voice even. It popped up on the iPad. Her shoulders tightened. Why are you in my banking stuff? It's not your banking stuff, I said. It's our shared device, and the alert popped up in front of me. She scoffed, okay, and I'm asking what it is, I said. She grabbed the iPad, swiped the notification away too quickly, and tried to smile. It's just a place downtown. Some people from the studio go there sometimes. It's networking. Networking costs $189 a month, I said. It's a membership, she snapped. It comes with access, events, people. You wouldn't get it. I'd get it if you told me, I said, but you didn't. She stared at me for a moment, then shrugged like it was nothing. It's not a big deal. I didn't argue at breakfast. I didn't raise my voice. I just took that fact and set it aside in my mind the way I set aside a damaged shipping label, something to address with a clear process. That evening Tessa came home late, not surprising. She walked in humming, cheeks flushed, smelling like perfume and cold air. I was at the counter with my laptop open, not spying, just doing what I do every night, checking my schedule, replying to a few work emails, planning the next day. She tossed her bag down and said, "You're in a mood." "I'm not," I said. "Can we talk for a minute?" She sighed like I was a chore. About what? Crown Lounge, I said, and the late nights, and what's going on. Her eyes hardened. Nothing is going on. I'm working. Working on what? I asked. Exactly. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed, posture sharp. on my future, on my brand, on not ending up stuck in a boring life. Is this about me? I asked. She laughed again, that same dry sound. Caleb, you're not the center of everything. I'm not trying to be, I said. I'm trying to understand why you have a VIP membership to a place you never mentioned and why you're gone most nights. Her jaw tightened, because I have a life, because I'm allowed to have fun. Are you going there with someone, I asked, or not? She didn't answer fast. That pause was loud. Then she said, sometimes I go with Mason. Who is Mason? I asked. She rolled her eyes like I was behind the times. A promoter. He helps with events. He knows everyone. He's the reason I'm getting noticed. And what are you doing with him? I asked, still calm. Tessa stared at me like she was deciding which version of herself to show. Then her face smoothed into something practiced. Don't get emotional, she said. This is just how adult relationships work. You're stable, you're safe. Mason is exciting. I shouldn't have to choose. That's when she said the line from the beginning. Different words, same meaning. For a few seconds, I didn't say anything. I wasn't shocked that she'd said it. I was shocked that she believed it was reasonable. I nodded once, okay. She blinked, okay. Okay, I said again, I hear you. Her eyebrows lifted in irritation. So you're just going to sit there and act calm, like you're better than me. I'm not better, I said. I'm just not going to argue about my basic worth. She scoffed, you're being dramatic. I'm being clear, I said. She stepped closer, voice lowering. Caleb, you need to stop making this a thing. You're my stability. Don't confuse that with being wanted, okay? That's not what I meant, but it's the truth. You're the foundation. Mason is a spark. I swallowed. My throat felt tight, but my voice stayed steady. I'm not a foundation for someone else's double life. She threw her hands up. There you go, always making it a moral issue. It's not cheating if it's not serious. I stared at her. If you have to explain it that hard, you already know what it is. She looked away first, not because she was ashamed, because she was annoyed that I wasn't playing my part. That night, I didn't throw her out. I didn't threaten. I didn't lecture. I went to bed early and stared at the ceiling until my mind stopped racing. In the morning, I made a plan. It wasn't a revenge plan. It was an exit plan. When you move medical supplies, you learn something simple. If you want a clean delivery, you confirm the address, you verify the paperwork, and you don't leave loose items in the back of the truck. I treated my life the same way. First, I started documenting what was in the apartment, not because I wanted her stuff, because I didn't want an argument later about what disappeared. I walked through the rooms with my phone and took quick photos. The couch, the TV, the kitchen appliances, the closets, the drawers, the little things people suddenly claim are theirs when they want leverage. I opened a notes app and typed in inventory. Nothing fancy, just a list. My desk, my monitor, my tools, my bike, her ring light, her weights, her studio merch. Items we bought together got marked shared. Then I logged into my credit card account. Tessa was an authorized user on one of my cards. It started when she said it would make groceries easier and she'd pay me back when a sponsorship hit. She did at first, then she didn't, and I didn't push because I thought we were building a life. I removed her authorization with 2 clicks and I saved the confirmation. No drama, no surprise, just a boundary. Next, I handled auto pay. Rent came from my account, internet came from my account, a couple of streaming services, a delivery app, our shared music subscription. I didn't cut her off in the middle of a show. I simply switched the payment methods to accounts I controlled, and I changed passwords on services I paid for so access didn't continue after we separated. Not sabotage, normal security. Then I did something I should have done earlier. I put everything important in writing. I sent a short email. Tessa, from now on, communication needs to be in writing only. Text or email, no late-night talks. We will handle living arrangements calmly and legally. Caleb. I didn't add emotion. I didn't add blame. I just set a rule. After that, I called the leasing office on my lunch break. I told them the truth in clean terms. My authorized occupant and I are separating. I'm the leaseholder. I want to handle this properly. What is the correct process? The manager, a woman named Denise, was polite and direct. She explained that because Tessa was listed as an authorized occupant, she had rights as an occupant, and they expected any move-out to be handled with proper notice and documentation. They could remove her from the file with a signed form, but if she refused to leave, it could become a legal matter. Denise also told me my options with the lease itself. I could finish the term and keep the unit alone, or I could request an early termination with a fee and proper notice. I didn't want months of tension in a small apartment. I also didn't want a messy legal fight, so I chose the cleanest option. I scheduled an appointment at the leasing office for the next day to discuss early termination. Then I scheduled a consult with a local attorney for general guidance, just to make sure I didn't accidentally do something stupid. The attorney didn't give me a dramatic speech. He gave me the kind of advice I trust. Keep communication in writing, offer reasonable time, don't touch her belongings, don't block access, don't change locks. If you're ending the lease, give notice per the contract and keep copies of everything. That was it, a straight line, follow it. That evening, when Tessa walked in, she acted like nothing had happened, like her words about not choosing were just a conversation she'd won. She kicked off her shoes, glanced at my face, and said, "Are you still on that?" I kept my tone neutral. "I met with the leasing office tomorrow. I'm ending the lease early. I'll pay the break fee and follow the timeline. You'll need to make arrangements to move." Her smile disappeared. "Wait, what?" "I'm ending the lease," I repeated. "It's in my name. I'll do it properly and give notice. You have time. I'm not throwing you out. I'm ending my responsibility for this place." She stared at me like I'd spoken another language. "You can't," she said. "I can," I said, "and I will." Her voice rose. "So because you're insecure, you're going to make me homeless." "I'm not making you homeless," I said. "I'm removing myself from a situation where I'm being used." She stepped closer, anger flashing. "You're punishing me." "I'm protecting myself," I said. That's when the stages started, almost like a script. First, disbelief. "You're not serious," she said. "You're just trying to scare me." I shook my head. "I'm serious." Then anger. She called me controlling. She called me boring. She said I didn't understand her world. She said Mason was just business and I was making it weird. I didn't debate. I didn't insult her. I stuck to facts. "You said you shouldn't have to choose," I told her. "I chose for you." Then bargaining. The next morning she was sweet, too sweet. She made coffee. She touched my arm like she remembered where it was. "Caleb," she said softly, "we can fix this. I didn't mean it like that. I was stressed. I need excitement sometimes, but you're who I come home to." I looked at her and felt something settle in me, calm and heavy. "That's not love," I said. "That's convenience." Her eyes got watery. "So you're just going to throw away 3 years?" "I'm not throwing it away," I said. "I'm ending what it became." She tried the victim story after that. She told her friends. She cried loudly on the phone in the living room so I would hear. She used words like abandoned and blindsided, as if I hadn't been standing in the kitchen when she told me I was safe and he was exciting. 2 days later, my phone buzzed with a message from a mutual friend named Kira. Kira was the kind of person who knew everything in the fitness scene and always acted like she was doing you a favor by sharing it. The message was a screenshot of a group chat. I didn't need to zoom in to see it. My name was right there. Tessa had typed something like, "He's being so dramatic. He thinks he can just paperwork me out. He'll calm down once he realizes I'm the best he can do." There were laughing reactions, a few girl yes replies. Someone wrote, "Let him pay the fee then." I stared at the screenshot for a long moment. That was my receipt in a way, not proof of Mason, proof of mindset. I replied to Kira with one sentence, "Thanks, please don't send me anything else." Then I muted and blocked the thread. I didn't respond to Tessa about it. I didn't need to. I didn't want to fight. I wanted an exit. The logistics part moved fast after that. I met with the leasing office. I signed the early termination paperwork. I paid the fee. I got the timeline in writing, everything dated, everything clean. I scanned it and saved copies in 2 places like I do with shipping documents. Then I texted Tessa the facts. The lease will end on May 31. The apartment must be vacated and keys returned. I will be moving my items out on May 18. You can choose a pickup schedule for your things. Please keep communication to logistics only. Her replies came in bursts. First rage, you're ruining my life. You're heartless. Mason was never serious. Then bargaining again, just give me one more chance. We can go to therapy. I'll cancel the membership. Then a threat disguised as confidence. I can replace you faster than you think. I responded with short boundaries only. Please keep messages to move out logistics. Please confirm the pickup window you want. Communication in writing only. No lectures, no insults, no long explanations. Every extra word is something someone can twist. For the move-out day, I asked my cousin Jordan to help. Jordan is older than me, a quiet guy who works with his hands and doesn't get pulled into drama. He doesn't talk much. He's the kind of presence that keeps things calm without trying. I told Tessa in writing, Saturday, May 18, 10:00 a.m. to 2:00 p.m. Jordan will be present. We will move my items. Please keep the space clear and do not block exits. She replied with, wow, bringing security now. I answered, a witness. Saturday morning, the air already felt like summer. Raleigh gets humid fast, the kind of day where your shirt sticks to you after 10 minutes outside. Jordan pulled up with his truck. We went inside with boxes and tape and moved straight to work. Tessa was on the couch, arms crossed, watching like she was a judge. You're really doing this, she said, voice low. Yes, I said. Her disbelief turned into anger fast. You think you're so calm, you think you're so mature, you're just scared. I carried my laptop bag past her and didn't respond. She followed me into the bedroom, voice rising. You're going to regret this. You're going to be alone. You're not exciting, Caleb. You don't even know how to live. I set my shirts into a box without rushing. Please don't stand in the doorway. She scoffed. You can't even handle a conversation. I can, I said. I'm choosing not to. That line hit her harder than any insult would have, because it was the truth. I wasn't overwhelmed. I was finished. She tried bargaining again when she realized I wasn't reacting. She stepped close and lowered her voice. Okay, look, I was wrong. I got caught up. I liked the attention. I liked feeling seen, but you're the one I trust. I looked at her and kept my voice quiet. You don't treat people you trust like a tool. Her eyes flicked to Jordan in the hallway, then back to me. So what, you're just going to leave and never look back? Yes, I said. That's when she went full victim narrative, loud enough for the neighbors to hear through thin walls. I can't believe you're doing this to me. After everything I did for you, I made you better. I brought you into my world. Jordan didn't react. He just kept carrying boxes like a metronome, calm, steady, not interested. Tessa threw her hands up and said, Fine, go, you'll come crawling back. I didn't answer. By noon, my things were out. I left her furniture untouched. I left her clothes untouched. I left her ring light and weights and little branded water bottles untouched. I took only what was mine or clearly shared and agreed on. Before I left, I took one last set of photos of the apartment, showing it wasn't damaged by me. Countertops clear, floors clean, walls intact. It wasn't paranoia. It was a record. Then I handed Tessa a printed copy of the lease termination timeline and the key return instructions from the office. She glanced at it like it offended her. You really are a paperwork guy, she said. I am, I answered. It keeps things clean. I moved into a smaller place closer to my work, a simple one-bedroom with fewer amenities and more peace. I forwarded my mail. I updated my address everywhere that mattered. I changed my emergency contact at work. I updated my beneficiaries. Quiet adult moves that don't feel dramatic until you realize they're your life. Over the next 2 weeks, Tessa tried everything. She sent long texts at night. She sent, I miss you in the morning. She sent pictures of us from the farmer's market. She sent anger when I didn't respond. Then she sent one last message that was meant to sting. Mason says you were never man enough anyway. I stared at that for a moment, then deleted it and went back to making dinner. Because once someone is quoting the person they cheated with as an authority, there's nothing left to discuss. On May 31, I met Denise at the leasing office to return my keys. I didn't go alone. Jordan came again, just to be safe. Tessa showed up late, wearing sunglasses like she was arriving at a photo shoot. She dropped her keys on the counter like she was doing the office a favor. Denise was polite, professional, and completely unimpressed. She checked the keys, confirmed the unit was vacated, and handed us a final paper showing the lease was closed. Tessa watched the paper, then looked at me like she expected a final scene, a last emotional speech, a fight, something she could replay later. I didn't give her anything. I nodded once, said, "Take care," and walked out. Summer passed, life got quieter in a way I didn't know I needed. I started going to the farmer's market again, alone. It felt strange at first, like walking into a place you used to go with someone and realizing the world didn't change just because your relationship ended. People still bought peaches, people still laughed, the sun still hit the tents the same way. I kept my routines: work, gym, cooking, a few friends, a few quiet nights. I didn't date right away. I didn't need to prove anything. I needed my nervous system to stop expecting chaos every time my phone buzzed. By fall, I felt like myself again, not the version that tried to keep up with Tessa's energy, the version that slept well and spoke clearly and didn't feel like he had to earn basic respect. Then in late October, I had to fly out for a work conference, a vendor thing in Chicago, 2 days of meetings and compliance talk and bad hotel coffee. On the way back, I stood at baggage claim at RDU, watching bags roll out onto the carousel with that slow, boring rhythm. I've heard my name behind me. Caleb. I turned and there she was. Tessa looked different, not worse exactly, just less polished. Her hair was pulled back, makeup minimal, eyes a little tired. She had a carry-on and a purse and that same habit of looking around like she was waiting for someone to notice her. For a second, we just looked at each other. Hi, I said. Hi, she replied, voice softer than I remembered. Wow, I didn't expect you. I'm just getting my bag, I said. She nodded quickly. Me too. I was visiting a friend. I didn't ask which friend. I didn't ask if it was Mason. I didn't care. She shifted her weight, eyes searching my face. You look good. Thanks, I said. I'm doing okay. She swallowed. I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. I kept my expression calm. Okay. Her eyes flickered like she wanted more, like she wanted me to tell her she was forgiven, that the door was open, that the story could be rewritten. I didn't mean what I said, she continued, about you being safe. I was chasing feelings. I was trying to become someone. It got out of hand. I nodded once. It did. She took a breath. Mason is gone. I didn't react. Okay. She looked frustrated, then tried a softer angle. Do you ever miss me? I paused because I wanted my answer to be honest and clean. I miss the version of us before the disrespect, I said, but I don't miss what it turned into. Her eyes got wet. She blinked fast like she was trying to keep control. I thought you'd fight for me, she whispered. I stared at the carousel, bags sliding by. I fought for us while you were shopping for excitement. That wasn't an insult, it was a fact. She flinched like the truth was heavier than any yelling would have been. My bag came out. I grabbed it, set it upright, and looked at her one last time. I hope you find what you're looking for, I said, but it won't be with me. She nodded slowly, like she understood, or like she finally had no argument left. Okay, she said. Take care, Tessa, I answered. I walked away through the airport, past families and tired travelers and people hugging at arrivals. The air smelled like coffee and carpet, and that odd airport cleanliness that never feels real. Driving home, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel proud. I felt quiet. That quiet was the point. People ask what winning looks like in a breakup. They expect a big speech, or a public moment, or some perfect line that makes the other person crumble. For me, it looked like paperwork and boundaries. It looked like not begging someone to choose me. It looked like a calm exit with my dignity intact. And months later, it looked like standing at baggage claim, saying a polite goodbye, and feeling nothing pull me backward. The quiet after was the proof I made the right call. Thanks for watching. What would you have done in my place? Tell me in the comments.